Okay, good to see everybody.
Good to
We
see you, Coach.
Hey Rob, on the injury front, I'll have more information as MRIs come in and everything. But Greg Newsom's progressing with the calf. Jed's, we'll see how he is with this ankle and see how he does throughout the week. Ronnie Harrison was evaluated for a concussion. He does not have a concussion, but protocols held him out of that game. And then Chris Hubbard with his triceps is getting better and making progress. Talking about the game like we talked about yesterday, I thought the defense was outstanding. The defensive line consistently pressuring the quarterback, hitting the quarterback, sacking the quarterback. Just they affected the game and really played lights out. And I thought the guys were sticky in coverage, which was a big thing going into that game. Offensively possessed the ball, didn't give them any short fields. I think their average starting field position was the 22. And then special teams was good, Chase making his kicks and doing his job. So plenty to clean up, plenty that we can improve upon. And then we're going to go on the road again and play a really good Chargers team this week. And with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you very much, Coach. The first question will be from Tom Withers.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Kevin. Is Will's one of the MRIs that you're waiting to get back?
Yes.
Okay. I know we asked you about this last week. Would there be a chance that you might sit him for a week or two just to get that thing right? Because he's had to come in and out of the game so many times now.
Yeah, I think everything's, we do it really weekly. We make these decisions daily. We make these decisions with the information available to us. So, it's unfortunate that he got his ankle caught there, but everything's on the table there, Tom.
And as far as your defense is concerned, Kevin, so impactful, like you said, what has led this turnaround the last 2 weeks? What is mesh that's really brought this unit together?
Well, I think there's probably a bunch of answers to that, Tom. I would just tell you, in terms of gelling, one of the main things I would say is up front, because you run line games, you move, you play off of each other. So I just think getting a few games under our belt, I think you're seeing the fruits of the labor of that defensive line and what they're doing at practice. I could probably cite you a bunch of other examples because guys are playing at a high level.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Tom. Next question will be from Mary Kay Cabot.
Yeah, Kevin, just wondering when you watched the film, did you have any better idea or any sort of an explanation for how Baker just really wasn't himself yesterday? The accuracy we've been seeing obviously just wasn't there. Could you detect any reason for that?
No, I think, Mary Kay, we know we want to be better in the pass game. We want to be more explosive in the pass game, and there will be opportunities for us to improve, and that's what this week is for, really, making sure that we're getting on the same page and then having a good plan for the Chargers.
So it didn't look like perhaps maybe the footwork was askew or anything like that, technically speaking?
Yeah, I think, Mary Kay, I think you can go through every play and whether I need to call a better play, get guys open. I mean, I'd take you to the first drive there. The third down play didn't get anybody open. Fourth down play didn't get anybody open. So those are the things that I got to do a better job with.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. We'll go to Nate Ulrich.
Hey, Kevin, did you initially think Ronnie had a concussion and then he ended up clearing the protocol? How did that go down?
Yeah, he was evaluated for a concussion, Nate, and really wasn't cleared until this morning, and that's just the protocols and how it works.
Okay, and then staying on safeties, obviously Grant got pressed into a lot of action. I know you wanted to look at the film yesterday. You said that you kind of need to look at to know how he did. So in playing all but 2 snaps, what was your assessment of him, and how big was it for him to come in and give you that workload? Yeah,
he did a really nice job, Nate. He was physical, made a really big play on that far cross on their sideline to Thielen, but he did a nice job.
Thanks, Nate. Our next question will be from Fred Greetham.
Hey, Coach. Now, how encouraging, I mean, obviously you didn't have the complete game on the offense, but the defense now is strung together 2 back-to-back games. So, you have the opportunity to sometimes win games just on the defensive side.
Yeah, Fred, you got to find a way to win any which way you can. And certainly yesterday, our defense took us home. It was an outstanding performance. And then this week, we'll see how the game goes. You just don't know. Special teams comes up big for us. So we'll play and we'll call the game that's called for. But in the NFL, if you want to be a good team, you got to find a way to win.
Thank you, Fred. Next up is Marla Ridenour.
Yeah, Coach, Miles said on TV last night in an on-field interview that he had a present for you when you got back to the facility. Did he give it to you yet?
He did not. He doesn't owe me anything after that performance. He just needs to bottle that up and do that every week.
And one thing about Baker, that run down the sideline when he sort of extended, did you look at that and think you could have challenged that?
Looked at it, Marla, but I don't know that that we got a great look at it in time to make a decision. And really, about that first challenge, didn't have a great replay on that. Just felt like it was a big enough play, and losing a timeout in the first half was not as concerned about that. But it was very clear shortly thereafter that he was in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Marla. Daryl Ryder, we'll go to you.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about Greedy's first start since his rookie year. Just what did you think from him? And then also just him getting his first NFL interception and considering everything he's been through in the last 14 months.
Yeah, Daryl, really proud of Greedy. I think all of you guys know that it was a hard year with that injury and a lot of waiting and a lot of just, getting work in the training room and the weight room and finally got good news after really weeks and months. So that was hard on him, and he came back and the guy's just been so singularly focused on helping this team win. And then to see him out there play well, play physical, get his hands on guys. I mean, that's a really good passing unit out there. So he was up to the challenge, and then, to come up with a big takeaway again, versus a quarterback doesn't throw many of those. So he went up and got it, and it was really good to see.
And your front four really got after Kirk, as you mentioned. He's just a guy that doesn't get sacked. He gets rid of the ball real fast. Just how much did that open things up for you and Joe Woods when those guys were able to get home the way they were, at least get the pressure on him?
Yeah, I think those guys applied consistent pressure, whether we were rushing 4 or 5 or 6, and even at the end of the game, we rushed 3 and we got pressure. So that was an outstanding job by those guys. And I don't want to lose sight of the run defense either, because they did a great job versus the run as well.
Thank you, Daryl. Next question, we'll go to Scott Pedrick.
Hey, Kevin, do you think that left shoulder injury is affecting Baker's accuracy at all?
I don't think so, Scott. And I base that on what I see at practice. So I don't think so.
And then on that last incompletion to Odell, how would you like that to go? Because it seemed like obviously Odell kept running and Baker said he needed to communicate that he wanted him to stop. How would you like that to play out? Well,
You'd like a completion. Listen, there's going to be plays that we hit. There's going to be plays that we miss. We talked through it. A bit of a miscommunication, and it's unfortunate because of the moment of that, but that's why we work. That's why we spend a lot of time in these meeting rooms, spend a lot of time on these fields, and we got to get it right, and we will.
Thanks.
Thank you, Scott. Matt Fontana, go ahead.
I can't hear you, Matt. And I'm not very good at lip reading.
Matt, go ahead. Looks like your microphone may be muted on your end. If you take a look at that, we'll come back to you. We'll go to PJ Ziegler.
Thanks, Rob. Hey, Kevin, I want to ask you a question about the Chargers this upcoming week. You'll be facing Brandon Staley, who grew up here in Northeast Ohio. Obviously, was a big Browns fan. What does he bring to that Chargers program? I know he's still young in his coaching career, but what do you see in what he has that Chargers team doing so far?
Yeah, PJ, I'll be honest, I haven't peeked at them yet. I'll get on the Chargers here shortly, but I know Coach Staley a little bit. I know what he's about. He's a former quarterback, then coaching defense. He learned under one of the best in Chicago with Coach Fangio, and then he did a great job with his year as a coordinator. And I know he's carrying on a ton of that success with what he's doing right now.
Thank you.
Thanks, PJ. Let's go back to Tom Withers.
Thanks, Rob. Hey, Kevin, how did James Hudson do in his? I think he had 21 snaps or so.
Yeah, I think he was okay. Had a false start penalty there.
Right.
But he's getting better. He's somebody that we get a good look at him at practice. He gets a lot of good reps. Part of Jed being out at some of these practices have given him an opportunity to get some really good reps. So I think he's progressing and working really hard.
And Kevin, you've shown that fourth down, you're going to be aggressive. And when you look at those analytics, does that factor in either momentum or how your defense is playing? Or I know it's got game situation, obviously, but what else do you consider there before you decide to go for it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to consider, Tom, and we also we spent a lot of time talking about how we think the game was going to play out. And I think 14-7 was not how we thought it would play out. Points are a premium, but also we felt like we had to score touchdowns in that game. So that was the first drive there. But that adjusts throughout the game as you get more information. And really it adjusts by game as well.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Mary Kay Cabot, you're up.
And yeah, whenever you see Baker and Odell have a game like that again, where there's, they connect twice on 7 targets, it raises those questions again. Are those guys going to be okay together from a chemistry standpoint? What do you say to something like that?
Yeah, that's not really a concern of mine or ours, Mary Kay. I would tell you, when you throw the ball deep, you're not going to hit all of those. And we had some opportunities where we felt like we could throw it deep, and we just didn't connect. And so your completion percentage on deeper throws, as you know, obviously is going to be not as good as shorter throws.
And did you see some of the timing better the week before? I mean, it looked like Odell was making a concerted effort to be super precise on his routes, and they looked like they had it the week before. So was this?
Yeah, America. That's why I would just tell you, honestly, it's a week to week in this league. You gotta work at it, and sometimes you're gonna go up against a really good defense, a really good scheme, and you got to improve. It's similar to how things early in the season on our defensive side, we wanted to clean things up. We cleaned them up. So that's where we have to just anything that we feel like needs to improve, we'll put some effort into it and make sure it improves.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Kay. We're going to take 2 more for Coach Daryl Ryder and Scott Patrick. Daryl.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask a leadership question. Going into the Bears game last week, Miles got some of the defensive guys together and said, hey, what we're doing is not good enough. We got to be better. Last night, Baker gets up and says, hey, my performance just isn't going to cut it. Is a coach that's kind of come in here and preached accountability from day one. What does that mean to you as a coach, that your 2 big, for lack of a better term, stars on your team have really assumed that leadership mantle and are kind of echoing what you want as far as accountability goes?
Yeah, I just think those guys are being themselves, and that's how they lead. They lead in all of us lead in different ways, and I think those are 2 guys that know their role on this team, and they have the respect of their teammates.
Thank you, Daryl. To close us out, Scott Patrick.
Hey, Kevin, I want to ask you about 14-7, but first, is Anthony Walker, do you expect him back this week?
I think we'll see how it goes, Scott. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. And you said you expected a higher scoring game. I think a lot of people did. Do you think the familiarity of the coaching staffs played into why it wound up only being 14-7?
Yeah, I don't know. It might have. They did a great job. Their defense did a very, very nice job versus us. I mentioned the red zone there where we didn't do a good enough job getting our guys open. So it was a hard fought game. And I think it's a good win on the road against a really good opponent.